This is Radio Aapki Awaaz on www.aapkiawaaz.co.uk, also on Radio Garden apps.
इंसारी वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट यूके के ज़ेर एहतमाम मीरपुर आज़ाद कश्मीर में गूंगे और बहरे बच्चों की मुफ्त तालीम व तरबियत का इदारा कश्मीर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ स्पेशल एजुकेशन कायस आपके तावन का तलबगार। अंसारी वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट यूके बाक्लिपिंग सोड कोड 201188 अकाउंट नंबर 50877735 वेबसाइट awtuk.org। वसीम द ताबा ताज़ा समोसा चाट फ्रूट चाट दही बल्ले गोलगप्पे सब्ज़ चाह ते पहली वारी आलम रॉक रोड तो ताज़ा गन्नियां दा जूस। जी हाँ, ताज़ा गन्नियां दा जूस। वसीम द ताबा outside Lord Pizza, 32 Alum Rock Road, telephone number 07846428 Wasim the Taba.
Radio Aapkiawaaz.co.uk, bringing communities together through interfaith and social cohesion specialist shows.
क्या आप परेशान ज़दा वालिदैन हैं या समझते हैं कि कोरोना जो आलमी वबा भी है ने आपके बच्चे की पढ़ाई पर असर किया है, तो परेशान मत हों, क्योंकि राइजिंग स्टार एकेडमी अपने नाम की तरह पहचान भी रखता है। वो वालिदैन जिनकी आमदनी कम है की अच्छी तरीके से मदद भी कर सकता है। राइजिंग स्टार एकेडमी में अपने बेहतरीन सहूलतों के साथ मुनज़्ज़म क्लासों में पढ़ाई की कमी पूरी करने वाले लेसन दिए जाते हैं। सिर्फ स्कूल के दौरान ही नहीं बल्कि छुट्टियों में भी मुख्तलिफ एक्टिविटीज की जाती हैं, जिनमें घुड़सवारी, तीरंदाजी, बॉलिंग और भी बहुत कुछ सिखाया जाता है। ये लेसन अमाना सेंटर में तजुर्बाकार असातिज़ा की निगरानी में दिए जाते हैं। इसके अलावा 11+ सब्स और GCSE पर भी खास तवज्जो दी जाती है ताकि आपके बच्चे का मुस्तकबिल संवर सके। सिर्फ यही नहीं बल्कि हफ्ते के दौरान प्राइमरी स्कूल के बच्चों को भी बूस्टर क्लासेस दी जाती हैं ताकि उनकी पढ़ाई में भी कोई फर्क न आए। इस सहूलत से फायदा उठाने के लिए हमारी वेबसाइट risingstaracademy.org.uk पर जाएं या फोन नंबर 0121227195 पर हमसे राब्ता करें। शुक्रिया।
Assalamu alaikum, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Community Talk Show. I'm your host this evening between now and 9 o'clock. It's Mohammed Amin, and inshallah we will be talking about having a conversation with Brother Ijaz here from the Eye Travel Clinic. As you know, this week the Omicron virus has raised its ugly head. Basically, this is another variant of COVID-19. Most of you do know that we have been covering this, but we want you to make sure we get a professional in to explain about PCR testing, fit for travel testing. And the reason for that is, as we're coming up to the festive season, most of the Asian community like to go back to the Asian subcontinent, whether it's Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Azad Kashmir. We want to make sure that everybody has the factual information. Currently, as you know, if you go into supermarkets, you have to have your masks on. Anywhere out shopping, you have to have your masks on. The hospitality trade is business as usual. But more importantly, I want you to make sure that anybody who's traveling, especially for emergency travel to Pakistan, Azad Kashmir, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, you need to make sure about your PCR testing and whatever you. And we've got our brother here, Brother Ijaz. I'll obviously cover the other usual points in the second half of my program. So I'm changing it slightly today just because we pulled Brother Ijaz from his phone line. He's literally extremely busy, and inshallah we will cover that bit later on. Brother, shukriya, I really appreciate you coming on, mashallah. Welcome to my show again.
Thank you.
I'm always grateful that people like you just drop everything and come at the drop of a hat. But you see, what we wanted to make sure is, whilst I could easily read out information and talk to the community, whatever you, if people hear from people like yourself who are dealing with this 12 hours a day, 9 till 9, mashallah, at the Eye Travel Clinic here in Alum Rock, we want to make sure that people have the latest information from you. So brother, over to you, mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum and hello to the viewers. We are our travel clinic, have been providing PCR testing for approximately 13 months now, alhamdulillah. There have been a few changes, as Brother Azim has said. That is that now the requirement, so I can tell you the process. Basically, leaving the UK is still the same PCR requirement for Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and anywhere else in the world, apart from Europe, which can accept antigen lateral flow test. So, example would be Pakistan. So, you would travel with a PCR test from the UK, and then on your return, yes, it was a lateral flow test coming back to the UK from anywhere in the world, but that has just changed this week. And now the requirement to enter the UK is a PCR test day 2 if you're vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you need to book day 2 and 8. And the other thing is there's no pre-departure PCR test to enter the United Kingdom. And
Brother, I was just going to say to you, so just remind people that if I leave the country, I still need to have my vaccine passports to prove that I've had my 2 vaccines, or if I've had my booster, it should be on my vaccine passport. You can have it electronically on your phone, but you can have it printed as well. And the NHS do send out these free. If, for example, I'm traveling to Pakistan, going over to Azad Kashmir now, what is the process now? Yeah. So I need to go urgently. I've got my visa, I've got my ticket, I've got everything in. What do I do now?
So again, as you rightly said, yeah. So if you got to be vaccinated to enter Pakistan, you will not be able to enter if you're not vaccinated. Apart from under 18s, at the moment are allowed to enter Pakistan if you're unvaccinated, under 18s. So so as Brother Azim said, yes, you do need your COVID pass to be double vaccinated adult over 18, and a PCR test, which has to be within 72 hours of travel. So that's what you need at the moment. So you need your COVID pass, and then you need your PCR test to travel to Pakistan, for example. Yeah.
And the PCR test is a requirement for Pakistan when you enter their country. So it's a requirement by Pakistan to say you've had your 2 vaccines and you've got your PCR test, and they obviously want to see your certificate. Acha, on the way back, obviously a lot of this information is changing day by day. Absolutely. Assuming, I don't know, I fly out to Pakistan tomorrow, go to Azad Kashmir for the weekend, I want to come back, say Monday. Yeah. Let's hope that nothing changes Monday. Yeah. What's the process from there? So from that side, yes. What do I do? I book my PCR test for day 2 and day 8.
Yeah, so if you most likely you'll be vaccinated anyway, so you'll need to book your day 2 PCR, not low lateral test anymore now. Yeah. This is a PCR test that you need to book before you depart Pakistan. Then you will get your locator number, which you need to put onto your locator form. You need to have that filled in before you go to the airport. Yeah. There's been instances where I've had calls where they just literally said, brother, can you help us out? We've not done a locator form. They will not let us on our flight. They will give us 20 minutes. And I've helped some people out, alhamdulillah.
So basically, if I, again, use your services to go out, I've got my PCR test, going back to my silly example, apologies viewers and listeners, I'm giving you a silly example, but you've got to understand that I have to create these type of scenarios so you understand what I'm talking about. So I go to Pakistan, I want to go to Azad Kashmir for the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, I want to come back, assuming circumstances are at this moment in time, I want to get back on that flight, coming back Tuesday or whatever it is, and then I need to have my
Day 2 locator.
Day 2 locator. Yeah. And then presumably I can arrange that with you from here before I go, so we know I can contact you, as you said before on my program, and then mashallah you'll sort me out.
Yeah. So what I normally say, if you're traveling, because you was going for a short time, for example, that you gave, we could do a instant locator number and issue the day 2 locator number and send it to your WhatsApp or email instantly. That's one. And the other requirement, if you're staying for a bit longer, we would normally say contact us 3-4 days before.
3-4 days
because your flight might change and we don't want to be altering the paperwork and so on. So So we would normally say 3 to 4 days, send us your details. We'll get the locator day 2 booked in for you, get your locator number, fill in your locator form, and get back to the UK.
And again, I'm giving these examples because I want members of the community to understand that any information that we've given you in the past, we are constantly moving with this new information, and same thing with you.
Absolutely.
Everything's changing for you, and as you know, some of the African countries are under lockdown, so you can't regardless of what vaccine you've got, you can't do anything. And day by day, you find out that within I don't know, Sunday 4:00, bang, these countries, and it's literally at that minute notice. And I was listening to one of the news shows yesterday, actually, and that's what the lady said. She's stuck out in South Africa, and literally that's what they've said. And she's trying to contact the High Commission and everything. And I think she works for the NHS, so she went away like on a pre-Christmas holiday. The idea was she was going to come back, work over Christmas and whatever you, and now she's still stuck out there. And then eventually she managed to get a flight out into Europe, and then from Europe she's going to come back in again. And that's that was the only way, because all the direct flights have been quarantined. So that's why a lot of this information, everything's moving literally day by day, because what you're going to understand is with this new variant, it's taken. I don't think it's taken the world by surprise, because we knew the Delta variant was kicking around. We knew the damage the Delta variant was done, and they knew that these virus, what the viruses tend to do is they mutate. So basically, you have a virus, and that a virus suddenly becomes another virus. And as I've just got an example here, and apologies, this is one of our placemats, and as you can see with one of these placemats, there are rings. And literally what happens is, that's what literally happens. You have a virus that mutates, and you have another one, and you have another one, and that's what's happening. So even when you go back with some of these variants, that's why these variants are. And at the moment, they are saying it's a variant of concern, which is an issue. And no doubt the medical profession and the scientists are working 24/7 just to get the issue sorted. And as soon as they get this data through, I can't remember now, the latest, it was about, there's about 32 odd people in the UK with this new variant, and the sequencing is constantly going on. So as the information's coming through, things are changing, things are developing, and unfortunately that will have a knock-on effect with regards to what we are saying and what we are promoting as well. So you've always said you're available 7 days a week, 9 till 9, and you're based at the Eye Travel Clinic here in Alum Rock at the Namadara Bazaar, 303 Alum Rock Road, here in Alum Rock, B8 3BJ, and you've got a same-day result service. The mobile number is 0121 822 8585. Mobile is 07951 786 222. So that's 07951786222. Any other information that you can give me at this stage, please, brother? I'm mindful that I don't want to hold you back any longer than I personally agreed, because I just want to really want to make use of you.
Of course. So that is the update at the moment. We've had numerous calls, people worried how the testing is going on. They were very, very confused which ones they require, how does it go, when's the testing, how do you book it online, how will I get my locator number. Very worried people I had. So alhamdulillah, I deal with them one-to-one. I give them as much time as they need for them to understand what test they need, how they need to go about it. So I'm here for you. You can call us anytime. We're working around the clock, and whenever you need us, we're here for you. Work within the community, any country. As the brother Azim saying, he's talking about Asia, but we cover worldwide. So America, Caribbean, Turkey, any other country we cover as well. So yeah. So at the moment, is that if you want to travel out from the UK, it's a PCR test for adults to Pakistan and a few other countries, and then obviously vaccinated to travel back to the UK is a PCR test which has come valid from this week. Under 18s at the moment for Pakistan do not require it. They just need to book the day too only, and that's it really. So they don't need one to depart to the Pakistan.
Yeah, my main focus is Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, because this is the time of the year. It's festive holidays. People go to the homeland. They were crying out to go to the homeland, and I know some of the ticket prices are horrendous. Return ticket prices, you're paying literally double. But if you haven't seen your friends and family, especially your family, your loved ones for 2 years, it comes to the point where you say, okay, I don't care. Forget about the financial lot. I want to go and see my family.
Absolutely.
And as you rightly said, it's not just Pakistan. It's anywhere in the world. I mean, I know we've got some friends out in America as well.
Yes.
And when they went out, the circumstances are different. When they're going to come back, the circumstances are going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's literally within a week. So this literally week, it's moved so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the thing. When people say it's a variant of concern, it is a variant of concern. It is a concern. You got to get on with it. You can't wait until it happens. Now, again, what I always say to people is make sure, those of you who haven't had your first vaccine, have your second vaccine, have your booster. So effectively, your boosters are available to anybody who needs the booster. I mean, previously they were working out with ages 80 plus, 60 plus, 80 plus, 70 plus, 60 plus, 50 plus. Now they're talking about 40 plus. But even if you're younger than the age of 40 and you've got a medical condition, you are entitled to have that booster. Get those boosters, but in the meantime, obviously social distancing, be careful of shaking hands, make sure you constantly use your gel with washing of your hands and frequently washing of hands. And just a few words, brother, in our own Pahari language for our viewers and listeners, please. I really appreciate your time.
No problem. Assalamu alaikum. अच्छा असां गल कीती सी ना कि ना PCR टेस्टिंग ये पापा अजीम बाने से ना तुसां इथु जानियो पाकिस्तान एग्जांपल्स में देने गए हां इथु तुसां की PCR टेस्ट लोड़ा विदिन 72 hours of departure ते असां वो करने आ ते इंशाल्लाह तुसां पाकिस्तान पहुंची गए करी ते असां मुड़ी आसो ना तुसां की हुन लैटरल फ्लो टेस्ट नहीं बुक करना हुन तुसां PCR टेस्ट बुक करना ए हुन नवा कड्डिया ने इस हफ्ते ते ओवर 18 तुसां बुक करना पड़ा सॉरी ना इथु जानियो तुसां की PCR बच्चें की नहीं चाहिए ना तो मुड़ी अच्छी ना बच्चों की भी तुसां की भी चाहिए ना PCR टेस्ट के ना डे 2 वाला तुसां असां थ्रू बुक करो तुसां की असां लोकेटर नंबर पे सा इंशाल्लाह तुसां फिर लोकेटर नंबर फॉर्म पर सो उन्हें पे लगसो तुसां मुड़ी आसो तुसां घर किट आया उसी तुसां के ना घर करी ते असां पिकअप करी इंसान असां लैबोरेटरी छोड़ी तुसां रिजल्ट देसा इंशाल्लाह
अपनी ज़बान में जरा दोबारा गल में जतलाना वा कि जैसा भाई जाजरा बाया तुसां की के भाई जिला तुसां चासो तुसां की PCR टेस्ट चाहिए सी ते जिला तुसां वापसी मुड़सो ना तुसां की इन्ना ना जड़ा ना WhatsApp नंबर तुसां की कोल है इन्ना की तुसां केड़ा ना एटलीस्ट 2-3 दिन पहला राब्ता करना वैसी के भी अज नहीं क्या हालत है अज नहीं सूरत हालत यह है कि जानिया तुसें की PCR टेस्ट चाहिए ना वापस जिला मुड़सो दूसरे दिन PCR टेस्ट चाहिए ना तो 8वें दिन PCR टेस्ट चाहिए ना पर जिला वापस इंग्लैंड विच मुड़सो पर ए जड़ा दसने ना कि जड़ा एयरपोर्ट पर तुसा वापसी जिला इसो ना वो बकायदा कार्ड होना वा लोकेटर जड़ा ना कार्ड होना फिल करना पड़ना उसने पर तुसें की लोकेटर ID नंबर चाहिए ना तुसा को टिकट होया सब कुछ होया जो तुसा पर ID नंबर ना होया कि तुसा टिकट बुक टेस्ट बुक किते या दूसरे दिन जिला वापस ऐसो तुसनी फ्लाइट मिस हो जैसी तुसा की फ्लाइट पर चढ़न नहीं देने टिकट भी सब कुछ भी जड़ा ना अप टू एयरलाइन की रिस्पांसिबिलिटी है कि जे एयरलाइन तुसा की फ्री बुकिंग देसी नहीं कई एयरलाइन आके सकड़न के तुसा की टिकट तुसा खत्म हो गया था दोबारा तुसा की पैसे देने पसंद सो इस तरह जरूरी है कि एटलीस्ट 3 दिन पहला तुसा नाल WhatsApp नाल राब्ता करी कि सो तुसा जड़ा ना टिकट जड़ा ना लोकेटर नंबर जड़ा तुसा बुक करी सकसो ते जिला वापस ऐसो घर टेस्ट किटाई हो सी ते दूसरे दिन करना भी है ते 8वें दिन नहीं करना है
दूसरे वाली दिहाड़ी
अच्छा दूसरे दिन सॉरी
vaccinated, unvaccinated.
Sorry, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੀਕੇ ਲਵਾਏ ਵੇ ਹੋਣ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦਿਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਵੇ ਸੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਵਾਏ ਵੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦਿਨ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਵੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ 8ਵੇਂ ਦਿਨ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਵੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਆਖਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾ ਦੋਏ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾ ਬਕਾਇਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿ ਲਵਾਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਪਾਸਪੋਰਟ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ NHS ਸਰਟੀਫਿਕੇਟ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਲ 2 ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਬੈਚ ਨੰਬਰ ਵੇ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਆਊਟ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਈਸ ਕਰਿਓ NHS ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਰ ਐਪ ਪਰ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਸ ਨੰਬਰ ਨਾ डेट ऑफ बर्थ तुसां ने नेशनल इंश्योरेंस नंबर उसने भी लिखे होना वा ये हर हालत भी जरूरी है कि जानिया तुसां कोल भी पुछसन वापसी ऐसो वो भी तुसां की पुछसन ते ये ना हो कि तुसां जेड़ी है ना मालूमात ना तुसां फायदा ना हो तुसां बचाओ तुसां अपनी गलती है तो फिर तुसां अपना नुकसान है माली नुकसान भी उसी के टिकट भी तुसां कैंसल हो सकना वा एयरलाइन की कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है कि तुसां ये इंफॉर्मेशन को नहीं लिहाजा जी एयरलाइन जेड़ा भी एयरलाइन है वो तुसां टिकट कैंसल करी सकने तो फिर तुसीं दोबारा नवीं सवीं पैसे देने पे सन फ्लाइट बुक करने पे सी वो सारा प्रोसीजर करना पे सी अच्छा भाई और कोई ऐसा कवर करना है कोई
बस खुले एनी टाइम फोन करिए
अगेन जड़ा इन्ना भाई होरा नंबर सी जड़ा इन्ना ऑफिस नंबर है 0121 822 8585 ता मोबाइल नंबर है 07951 786222 so 07951 786222 ਤੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ इचवारे ओवर टाइम को नहीं करने इन्होंने टाइम है 9 बजे सवेरे ते राती 9 बजे तक ते जे भी असानी जी कम्यूनिटी की इमरजेंसी कोई जरूरत है तुसा ने हाजिर की इन्हें कारोबारी समरे शुरू की कि कम्यूनिटी ने फायदे वास्ते कम्यूनिटी ने हेल्प करने हो माशाल्लाह टाइम ना तो को अजकल नरमी गर्मी लगी रहनी है तो जे तुसा की जरूरी जाना हो तो इन्होंने रबता करो एड्रैस इन्होंने मैं क्या तुसा की दसिया सी नंबरदारा बाजार 301 303 Alum Rock Road, Birmingham, B8 3BJ. इन्होंने वेबसाइट भी है www.itravelclinic.uk ये भी तुसां भी जो मालूमात लेनी है इन्होंने तकी सकनी हो बकायदा जी लेबोरेटरी इस्तेमाल करने और UK अप्रूव्ड लेबोरेटरी है प्रॉपर जी रेफरेंस नंबर भी है भाई और भी जेह्ड़े से असां ते अपनी जबाना विच मैं ते इ'यै तुसें गी गल्लां दस्सना कि भाई असां जेह्ड़ा मेन कंसर्न होना कि पाकिस्तान आज़ाद कश्मीर बांग्लादेश अफगानिस्तान पर एह् जेह्ड़ा पूरी दुनिया विच जेह्ड़ा कवर करने सो इन्ना छुट्टियां विच होना केईं यूरोप विच फैमिली रिश्तेदार है मिडल ईस्ट है तुर्की है अमेरिका है जित्थै भी है एह् मौका होना एक किस्म दा फैमिली ना कि छुट्टियां सीजनल छुट्टियां अच्छियां ते भाई इसने कोई फायदा उठाओ पर अनफॉर्चुनेटली हालात जेह्ड़े इस तरह जेह्ड़े कोई अच्छे नहीं दिसी रहे पर तुसें अपनी हिफाजत नहीं करनी चाहिए
जी जी
Is there anything else we need to cover, brother?
That's fine. Everything done, mashallah.
Right, thank you very much. As always, bye, boo-boo, shukriya. You're welcome to stay. And mashallah, I know you were really busy, so I want you to make sure that we cover everything, and that's why I pulled you in at short notice. And I know I really appreciate you, mashallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you.
Shukriya, ji.
Allah Hafiz.
Viewers and listeners, as I said to you before, I invited my brother to come in to give me this information. And the purpose of this information was that I could just sit here and give you this information, but I wanted a brother from the Eye Travel Clinic to come out and give us a quick overview of what's happening at this moment in time and with regards to holiday travel, emergency travel, and he's quite rightly said, and I'll repeat what we've just covered today. And it's basically anywhere that you need to go, you will need a PCR testing, and especially for Pakistan, the entry requirements are obviously you need your visa on your passport, your Nadra card if you're a Pakistani national, even if you're of Azad Kashmir dissident, you still need the documents for travel, and when you go to these countries, you will need that information, and you will still need this certificate. And secondly, what you need to make sure of is when you come back, currently In my example with Brother Jaz, Brother Abid, I call him Jaz. We gave the example of the fact that if I want to go this weekend, or when I come back Tuesday, based on the current guidelines, 3 days, literally 72 hours before you want to travel, you need to contact them and they will give you a locator number. The locator number is a number that you need on a document which, when you leave Pakistan, Bangladesh, to say you're coming back to the UK, and that proves that PCR test has been ordered for you. So when you come back into the UK, you will get that PCR test sitting at your doormat through your letterbox. And then on day 2, you have to test yourself, and then send that off to the laboratory. The laboratory test the variant, and it'll give you your results of whether you're positive or negative. And inshallah, you'll be negative, but you still have to upload that on the website, and then that way it goes. Now, one of the things that we did cover, those people who have not been vaccinated, you can leave the country. However, you will still need your PCR test when you leave the country. And when you come back into the country, you will still need your PCR test. The only difference is you'll need your PCR test on day 2 and day 8. That's the new requirement. So that's the differential. Vaccinated only once, twice. PCR test going, PCR coming back. Not vaccinated, 3 PCR tests. Effectively, 1 when you go out, 1 when you come back on day 2, and another 1 on day 8. And that's the new addition that's coming this week. Again, what you got to remember is this information is constantly changing all the time, and that's what we've done. So today's program has been really fairly short, but we just wanted to make sure that you hear from Brother Abid, who runs the eye travel clinic here in Alum Rock, and that's the reason I've literally pulled him away from his office, and it's just gone 8:30 on a Thursday evening, and I wanted to make sure that you hear direct from him, and that's why the brother was very concerned to say, I can only give you half an hour, because even now they are still having calls through in the office and they're really busy. But I wanted him to be on present for a couple of minutes to physically explain that to you. And the other thing I was going to say to you is that we are coming up to the festive season. People are planning for weddings. People are planning for Mendi Mania, as they do in our culture. And the thing about a wedding is that it brings families together. It brings distant cousins together. It brings close relatives, friends and family together. But as Prime Minister Boris Johnson said yesterday, Christmas is still going to be Christmas. I mean, I call it the festive season, but what they've said is make sure that you still adhere to some of the social distancing rules that were enforced, say, this time last year, especially in the summer before the rules were relaxed. So with all the supermarkets, when you go out shopping, you will need to wear a face mask, whether you're out in a clothing store, supermarket store, DIY store, any of the stores, you will need a face mask covering, and it has become a legal requirement. And also, the other thing you need to be mindful of is the fact that when you are in gatherings with your family, make sure the rooms are well ventilated, with air flowing through, with some windows open, and make sure that you keep a close eye on people's temperature. You make sure that there is no cause for concern in the family, and if any one of you feel that you're not well or you feel that you've got a temperature developing, consistent cough that's been lingering on for a couple of weeks, then you need to make sure you refer yourself to the GP practices and get yourself seen to. During these winter months in the UK, as you know, it's getting bitterly cold. And I remember many years ago when we used to go to school, you know, we used to have 2 foot of snow and it was nothing. We used to carry on walking in the snow and what have you. Now it's the different type of snow, as they always say, and health and safety becomes important. But more importantly, what you need to make sure of is the fact that even when the weather changes, one day it's mild, next couple of days it's freezing cold. We have central heating on constantly in our homes to keep our homes. So you're leaving the home, you're coming out in the cold, make sure you're constantly wrapped up. Furthermore, what you also need to make sure is that you look after your friends and neighbours. If you take responsibility for your friends and neighbours on the either side of your house, across the road, the either side of yours, again, that is doing your neighbourly bit. And if you haven't seen any particular uncle or auntie for a couple of days, you know, just knock the door and make sure you keep your distance and say, look, you know, uncle and auntie, is there anything I can help you with, or is there anything that I can help you with regards to get you some shopping in, more importantly, to make sure that you know, even the basics like milk, bread and eggs, you know, that's something that, you know, we as citizens can just pop down to the supermarket and get for them. And mashallah, you know, the reward that you get for doing something like that will be fantastic. And just would like to say thank you to one of my colleagues, Brother Ali Ghazi, who's picked up my comments and thanked me about the travel arrangements from Pakistan. We want to make sure that we give you all the factual information, and also we want to make sure that that you all get the latest information from us, and furthermore that we want to make sure that you get all of the details that are currently a legal requirement. So all of this is still continuously changing. Ali Bhai, lovely to hear from you. Mashallah, hope you picked up the information about the PCR testing. In your case, on the way back, and our thoughts and our well wishes are with you. Stay safe in the motherland, and obviously keep a closer eye with the latest information when you do decide to come back, because this information is literally changing on a day by day but hourly by hourly basis. So we need to make sure, and there's so much information out there at this moment in time, and a lot of the medical professionals are saying that the idea of the vaccine is the fact that it won't stop you getting any variant of COVID-19. So you need to understand the main issue of being vaccinated. And the idea of having your first vaccine, second vaccine, and your booster vaccine is that the fact that when your body is affected by this mutation of any virus, any derivative of that, there is an element of protection, and it literally just protects you. So what it says is that if you go back to people who you know who had the influenza vaccine every year, they normally have the vaccine around September, October time, and the idea is that from October to March, a lot of people used to suffer influenza, and they used to give them that bronchitis type of chesty cough, and they used to struggle with the airwaves, and unfortunately some of them used to pass away. And what this influenza vaccine did, it again fought this virus. So what he was saying was, yeah, the virus is trying to get into your body, in your system. it will get into your body and system, but it will protect you. And it will protect you in a way that it won't make you suffer from a serious illness. Whereas without vaccine, it could be really, really hard and difficult. And as I said, ultimately end up in hospital. And unfortunately, very few people who have ended up in hospital on ventilators have been very, very lucky in not coming out. Again, so that is the reason why. I've been listening to various stories and various reports, and many people have said, yeah, we've had vaccines and what have you, but it hasn't stopped us. Trust me, those people who have had vaccines and they've had a mild form, it would have made a massive difference if they hadn't had those vaccines. So that's why it's so important. Now, the other thing I was going to mention to you today is I've been doing some of this online NHS booking for a couple of friends of mine. And when you try to book in for this vaccine, it does give you a 1 week period. So if I want to book in a vaccine today online to some of the NHS centres, it says, yeah, you've got availability for next week. But if you have time, all I ask you to do is turn up to those centres, walk in, wait in the queue, and if you go there first thing in the morning or later on at lunchtime, you will find that a lot of these vaccines will be available and they will administer you. And the reason why is you'll find there are many people who book these vaccines and they don't turn up for one reason or another. So that's a little tip for you, and I certainly follow that for myself. So if I can take advantage of it, then everybody else can. Right, viewers and listeners, you're listening to Radio Aapke Awaaz on www.aapkeawaaz.co.uk. Studio number is 0121 682 9735. To advertise and sponsor a programme is 07944 808 141. That's 07944 808 141. Early part of my programme, we had Abid here from the Eye Travel Clinic, and he's constantly busy with calls from people who are worrying. At one stage, there was a PCR test going. When you come back, it was a lateral flow testing, and unfortunately, that second bit of advice has changed rapidly this week because of this Omicron variant that's been discovered. And what's happened this week is the fact that circumstances have changed, so you have to follow the new guidelines. Furthermore, a lot of these vaccines have actually been administered in the community as well here in Alum Rock. So, for example, there's the NHS walk-in centre in Clochel Road. People can physically walk in and wait in the queue, and there are people. There's a number of chemists who have now got the licence to give you these booster vaccines, and there's a lot of this available in the community. So there you are. A lot of these vaccines, obviously you've got your GP practices as well, but some GP practices are only having certain batches and certain limited quantities because it's all been phased in slowly, and scarcities as the volume increases. It will get better and more wide scale. But in the meantime, it's our duty to take advantage of the facilities that are available in the community and use them. As I said, online services are available for you to book your vaccine. But I know from personal experience checking this week that some of them are giving you a week's notice. So, for example, if I book it today, it'll say, "Yep, you got availability next Wednesday, next Thursday." Well, that's a bit late now. I want to get it done out of the way. And one of the tricks for you is, walk into any of the local chemists on the Alum Rock Road here. Walk into the NHS walk-in centre, which is called the Washwood Heath Health Centre here in the Clochel Road in Alum Rock. And I know there are certain other places that you can see this information on the NHS website. A lot of this information is changing rapidly, so just check on the NHS website for COVID-19 vaccines, and they will tell you where the local ones are available. And if for some reason there's a special offer on something, we always like, whether we go for 2 miles or 3 miles, we always like travel, and we find out and we want to go. And if I want to save a fiver on some special sale on something, we always go and do it. The same thing with the vaccine is, you've got vaccines in the community, you've got vaccines slightly outside the immediate area. And at the end of the day, what you got to understand is you want to take advantage of these vaccines, and you want to make sure you're vaccinated with the booster vaccine, and that's what you do. You go where the facility is available, and ideally you go to your GP practice. But if your GP says, well, I've got a limited supply and I'm only working on 80, 70, 60-year-olds, so don't worry, you're in the queue. The government has said that anybody who is 40 plus can have them, anybody who's vulnerable and is on that vulnerable list, and you've got a medical condition, 25 plus, 30 plus, you can go into any one of these centres, just wait in the queue, and you'll be vaccinated. And that's it at the end of the day. That's why it's more important to protect yourself, more important to stay safe. And people who are organising weddings, especially with the festive season coming up in the next fortnight, maybe some of these venues, individuals will need to consider, families will need to consider. And I know it's probably disheartening where there's a wedding in your family and you're expecting an invitation and no invitation comes through. What you've got to understand is we are still effectively in the COVID-19 restrictions, and whilst there's no official restrictions apart from wearing a mask out in the public and wearing the mask out when you're in the supermarkets and what have you, when you're in a big venue for a wedding, what have you, you have to wear these masks because a lot of these places, they're not very well ventilated with a lot of people in a close proximity, and that could make life a lot difficult for all concerned. So in those cases, you have to make sure that, bear that in consideration with families who are inviting people for weddings. But likewise, if you've not been invited for a wedding, don't take it to heart. Don't ring up people and complain to say, why you haven't invited me. You've got to understand that, at the end of the day, safety comes first. People's lives are important. Everybody's life is important. And even with us giving out this information for the last half an hour, 40 minutes, if we save one life, that's a massive achievement as far as I'm concerned. So all I ask for everybody is please listen to the guidance and the information that we've been giving you. This is a continually changing information. The landscape is changing. Even this evening I was following some information, and the government has ordered something like 140 million, and they're talking about maybe vaccines will be a norm for next 2 years. So maybe there'll be booster vaccines next 2 years. And a lot of it is some of these vaccines, which are derivative 4, derivative 5 vaccines, what they will do is each time there's a new mutation, the vaccines will be adopted slightly to make sure they cover all those variants. So that's why it's so important to follow the medical advice. And furthermore, if it means that weddings are held back until the summer, my personal guidance is just wait, watch this space, and just wait and see whether they'll be put back after Ramadan or early in July, August time. I know many people have booked between now and Easter. And again, these are the guidelines you have to follow, and you have to stick to these guidelines. So going back to the original content of our program today, it's literally been based on the changing arena of this Omicron virus. And that's what we've done. We've brought in Brother Abid from the Eye Travel Clinic, and they are based at the Namadara Bazaar at 301-303 Alum Rock Road here in Alum Rock, Birmingham B3, 3BJ. We've been running adverts all week for the last few weeks now, and the information has changed slightly, so that's why Brother Abid came in. Literally, he's been manning the phone lines with the team because people have been asking him guidance, and he did say, look, I will come, but please let me go, because literally, believe it or not, he is still at work. So I really appreciate the service he's offering for the community. If you need to check up on their website, it's www.itravelclinic.uk. So www.itravelclinic.uk. Phone number 0121 822 8585. Mobile is 07951 786222. And as Brother Abid did say, that whilst they always say they work 9 till 5 at the moment, 9 till 9, so they are open 7 days a week, 9 till 9, they're currently working well over that because people have booked to go abroad and they're concerned and they want to make sure they got the right information. They are people who are out on holiday, looking forward to coming back to the UK for the festive season. Again, the advice has changed, so they want to make sure they book the right type of PCR test as opposed to the lateral flow test on day 2, which was previously the issue. So now it's when you go out, PCR test. When you come back, you need your PCR test on day 2. However, before you fly out of your country back to the UK, within 72 hours, you need to make sure that you've booked the PCR test, and the iTravel Clinic can do that, and they will give you a locator number, and that locator number needs to go on the form. Without that locator number, you won't be able to travel. Apologies, I've been repeating this about 3 or 4 times today. I just want to make sure that this information sinks in. Because it's new information, we want to make sure you have the best information available for everybody. And that's why we literally changed our regular talk show, talk about different local issues, local concerns, and to bring this in because, we appreciate the fact that many viewers and listeners have gone out on holiday, paid well over the odds for the average cost of the flight, and they literally have to pay double to come back. You don't want to be in a position where you're out there, you're stuck, you forgot about your locator ID, forgot about booking your PCR test on the way back, and then when you come to the airport you end up having to pay double for the cost of the ticket. So you need to make sure that everything's done properly, and that way you have a safe journey out to visit family and friends, and more importantly stay safe and come back safe in the UK. So without further ado, I will thank you all for taking the time out, for listening into my program, and taking the information in. If there's any questions or concerns, please put them in the chat box, and I'll gladly cover them on the chat box on our Facebook page. And if there are any more concerns or issues, obviously just let me know. And if there are any other bits of information that you would like to know, our number as always is 07944 808 141. Gladly talk to you, gladly guide you to the appropriate travel companies. The only association we have with iTravel Clinic is that the fact that they put an advert on our station. Furthermore, they are local. They are a local company, and they come in our studio to give us that information, and that's what's important for us. We like to, as a local community radio station, broadcasting from the heart of Birmingham globally, we want to make sure that all our viewers and listeners get the latest information, and especially in this changing travel world, it's very important. Once again, thank you very much, and really appreciate all your time and efforts today. And until next week, please stay safe and look after yourself. And in a few minutes' time, my colleague, co-presenter, Ikram Mirza Saab will be on, and he'll give you a lovely end to the evening with his entertainment program. Mashallah, stay safe and look after your friends and family, but please make sure you take a closer eye on your neighbours during these winter months. It's always nice to know that if you haven't seen anybody, just knock on their doors and say, look, auntie, uncle, are you okay? Are you safe? Is there anything you need? Any bit of shopping? And that's what, good citizenship is all about. So without further ado, really appreciate your time and efforts this evening, and thank you very much for taking care. Take care and Khadafiz. Goodbye.